Hi, I'm Dave Oates, Head Researcher at FinderMonkey. I'm here today with Sue Harrison, who's our Senior Researcher. This was going to be part of our Facebook Live 10-day trial, but we didn't have time to fit the question in, and it's quite a long one, so I wanted to make sure we could address it for people. And this is for people that come to us asking if they can find somebody. It's usually a father, and they have literally, or they feel they've got no information, not even a name, and they want to know, is it possible to find somebody? And the simple answer is yes, it can be. There are a few ways now that we can find that person. I've got soon because we've just literally this week concluded a search that's a really good example of that. But I also wanted to talk about other ways that people can use as well, because DNA now is playing a really big part in helping people find lost relatives, particularly fathers, who are often whose names aren't known, and DNA is a really good way to find out who that person is. So I'll bring Sue in now. It's just what I wanted to talk about, a case where a gentleman came to us, Sue, and what did he know about his father?
Just literally his Christian name.
Right.
An area that he'd lived in the 1970s, and the names of two of his friends.
Right, okay. So we had the first name, the names of two of that person's friends, but we didn't know his surname, his exact age, or where he was from, or any of the details that would enable us to find him.
No.
And what happened when we found him? It took us quite a while to find him, didn't it? But when we actually found him, what was the reason that it took us so long?
That wasn't his name.
Yeah, so it wasn't the name of the person we had wasn't even the correct name. So, but yet we still managed to find him through a number of methods. Do you want to explain a little bit about what we did and how we approached it?
Yeah, so we initially wrote to the wife of his friend. She remembered him but didn't remember his surname. She'd only known him for a very short time, and she was no longer married to that gentleman's friend anymore, but she was able to give us enough information to find an address for her ex-husband, who she thought may know more. So we contacted her ex-husband, and again he remembered him but he didn't remember his surname, couldn't tell us exactly how old he was, but he was able to tell us that he had married a girl, and he remembered the tower block that the girl had lived in prior to the marriage and her first name. So we're
looking for a marriage with two people where we know the first names, approximately when it happened.
Yes, approximately where it may have happened, but again we drew a blank. So we then had to do an electoral roll search for a few years during the 70s, when potentially she'd lived there, for the whole tower block, to find anyone with that name, and there were 4 people with that name. And so we investigated each of those 4 and looked for marriages, and we actually found a marriage whereby the name that had been given to us as this gentleman's name, there was a marriage for this lady. She'd married someone, right time, right area, however the middle initial matched the name we had. So looking into that, his friend had also told us where he was born, and that he'd been born in Wales, in a specific town in Wales. So we were then able to find a birth record for this gentleman with that middle initial in the right area. So we were confident then that this was probably the gentleman who'd been detailed to our client as his birth father.
So from there, obviously we went on and managed to trace him. And do you want to tell us what's happened since?
Yeah, so we couldn't trace him initially, so we traced his brother. And his brother was able to tell us when he was born and the area that he lived in, which helped us write to him directly. He's been in touch, and we've now arranged the first phone call between our client and his father. So
it's a great ending to that story. And I think that like this whole investigation has been going on for a while, and I think we've probably even simplified it there, because we hear quite a lot of people talk about hitting brick walls, don't they, in their own family history research, and not being able to get through things. And I know we only had first names for the friends, so we had to kind of do historic searches to find out who they were, find out who lived at that address or on that street, find somebody who matched those details, work out who they were, then so we could trace them. And I know when we traced the lady that he married, her name was spelt wrong on the electoral registers, so when we were looking for a marriage for her, initially we couldn't find it because there was a spelling error on the record. So it was littered with problems. but I think it shows if you're persistent like Sue's been and you keep going and obviously look for another way to try and find information, there are ways to do it. So I think it's a really good example of you know, if you're looking for somebody, usually a birth father, you don't have a name or you have very limited information, but you do have other snippets of information, it's enough for us usually to be able to start an investigation and follow a lead, and hopefully that will lead us through to the right person in the end. And such as this case where that had not have worked, we would have recommended that our client then do a DNA test through a website like Ancestry. There are a few others available, but I think Ancestry now has the largest database, so it's probably the best one to use. And that can link you through DNA to other people who are related to you. And if you can find somebody who perhaps fits the description, or might give you a name or a link into a certain family, then you can begin to figure out if your father is, you know, within that family, and contact those people to try and get to the bottom of it. I really hope that's helped. We could talk about this one all day, I think, 'cause it's quite a big subject, but I hope that information's useful to people, and thanks for listening. If you found the video useful, please share with your friends.